We are live on Facebook and live on Zoom and in the Aira app and everywhere you want to be. And hopefully, I am not looking too horrible in my camera. I made the mistake of picking up my cat before I started. So she's here with us. I'm Janine Stanley. I am the Director of Customer Success and Engagement here at Aira. And I would like to welcome all of you to our coverage of the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. Uh, I am joined today by our producer, Sid. Hello there, Sid.
Hello, Janine. Hi, everybody.
Hey. And we have visual interpreters with us today, Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello, Janine. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And Jocelyn. Hey, Jocelyn.
Janine, hello everyone else.
All right. And live from Churchill Downs, we have visual interpreter Amanda. Hey, Amanda. Okay. And Amanda is going to be bringing us some live audio as she can. As you can hear, her audio is a little bit garbled, but that's okay because she will have some photos. Now, ladies, let's get started here. With a little bit, I'm going to do actually our first little Aira commercial. This event is being brought to you today by Aira. And if you'd like to learn more, of course, about our professional visual interpreters, Access AI, and the Aira app for your smartphone or your PC or Mac, you can go to our website, www.aira.io. All righty. So we're at Churchill Downs today. We've already had the singing of the national anthem. I'm not sure if we've had the singing of My Old Kentucky Home yet, but let's learn a little bit about Churchill Downs. Rebecca or Jocelyn, you want to start us out with a little bit about where we are today?
Absolutely. This is Rebecca. Churchill Downs is the racetrack in Louisville, Kentucky. It occupies 175 acres. It features a 1-mile dirt oval racetrack and a 7-furlong turf race course. Now, the backside barns located behind the racetrack house more than 1,400 horses each year. Probably the most visually identifiable aspect of Churchill Downs are the large, white, expansive grandstands, a multi-tiered seating system for the audience to watch and participate in the spectacle of the horse race, and the twin spires.
Yes.
The twin spires, yes, they were not a part of Churchill Downs until 20 years into the Kentucky Derby. They did a reconditioning of the space, and they called on a 24-year-old architect named Joseph Baldes to create some interesting architectural elements to Churchill Downs. And he thought he needed something to accentuate the appearance and give it some pizzazz. And the spire was a very popular architectural element in the late 1800s. Based on some Catholicism. And so as a result, there are twin spires. They are 12 feet wide. They're 134 feet from center to center, and they rise 55 feet from the grandstand's roof line to the top of the adorning king posts. Each spire has 8 rounded closed windows that were originally left open in their early days, sometimes lit up, and the top of the spire it's a cylindrical item with those windows and then a conical shape on top. And then on top of that conical shape, a very tall point for each one.
Ooh, hence the name Spire. All right. And do we have flags around here that you can see? Any flags?
I am taking a look
We
in
have some
Amanda's
hats that are very interesting. I will let you guys describe these, but let's get in a little bit closer.
Janine, were you asking about flags? Did you say?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not seeing any current flags.
But
It
let's see
looks
what
like sometimes the
Amanda
spires.
sees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's seeing some hats right now, taking a look at some very colorful, very interesting hats. This one gentleman is wearing a green hat in the silhouette of a horse, literally a horse's head on top of his head. He is
Oh
also
my.
draped in um in roses with an
Wow.
obvious homage to the trophy of roses that they received, not the trophy, but the large
Oh, the
drape. This hat,
blanket. The
yes, the blanket.
blanket of
This hat is a
roses.
giant top hat with a white silhouette of a horse's head and front hooves. With a trumpet on the side. The horse has a rose stem in his mouth and fireworks on the sides of the hat
Oh,
itself.
that's a cool hat. That is a very cool hat. Now, I am given to understand that Amanda also has a hat, and we're going to go into some fashion about the Derby here shortly. Is there anything else about the grounds, though, before we jump into fashion? Because, woohoo!
Yeah. Something that strikes me the most about the grounds is that it's primarily white. All of the architectural elements in the space are white and black and green. And that makes the
Ooh,
roses pop so much more. The green of the turf, there's green elements to the roofs. But it's all very, very white. The building structure, the grounds themselves, the stone that the folks are walking on, the half walls of fencing around the grandstand areas. They're all very white, very ornate.
mm. And that also makes something else pop, and that is the colors of these horses and jockeys that we're going to be talking about here in a bit. So, do we have any other fun visuals from Amanda before we go straight to her hat?
I'm
There are
also
a lot of unique fashions.
So, the Derby is a place for unique fashion.
We
All
have
right.
a giant rose hat, which is a huge, almost the size of her head, one single solitary rose hat.
Ooh.
Spellman has all kinds of horses cut out. Looks like probably his favorites that he wants to win on his Lucky Derby hat. He has 150 Kentucky Derby vest that he is wearing. So many different things. We got a great big
And
yellow
Amanda,
hat.
we are having some trouble with your audio there, Amanda, but I will tell you, why don't you turn your camera and let's see your hat. Now, thanks to the wonderful folks at everyone's favorite overnight delivery service, Amazon, Amanda is wearing a very cool derby hat. Do we have this, folks?
It is striking, absolutely
Ooh.
striking. She is in a traditional Kentucky Derby sense of the large hat, wide brim
Mhm.
covering her face for sun protection. This is a rose color, not the red rose, but the pink
Ooh.
rosé color. Lots of
Ooh.
layers of chiffon that are flanked with beautiful magnolia. She has six small magnolia blossoms on the side of her hat with tulle in that same pink shade of tulle and feathers, multiple feathers that are
Whoa.
like champagne color coming out of the top of the hat. It also is trimmed in a light blue. That light blue appears to be wire to keep the shape of
Yeah.
those of that chiffon element of her hat in a more structured capacity so it doesn't flop down in front of her face. Absolutely gorgeous. Complements
Whoa.
her red hair just perfectly.
Whoa.
She is also
Nice.
wearing a beautiful pearl necklace.
Oh, lovely. So she is dressed in what I remember because I remember being able to see the Derby as a kid from the 70s. I started with Secretariat, folks. So And but I remember all through Affirmed and Aladar and that great rivalry, and all the way up through the mid '80s when I lost my vision. But that was the type of derby fashion you saw, was the very southern cotillion kind of fashion. And now, whoa, it sounds like it is quite a party with different fashion elements and whatnot. And I know that for both of our visual interpreters, so we have some background information for you, right? About derby fashion and what's hot this year, what's hot in hats. I mean, how do you top a hat like that for a man? I want that hat. That is a cool hat.
Yes, the fashion is unbelievable and it is just as important as the race. So the hats are typically in whites, reds, and pinks, and the only color that is frowned upon is green. So you very rarely will see a green hat. But yes, definitely white brims that serves as a dual purpose, not only for fashion, but also for sun protection. They typically have flowers and feathers on them. The red rose is, of course, the flower of choice.
Yeah.
Today, they actually had a fashion show winner. She had on a red and black hat that had red roses, and she had two gift cards on top of her hat. It was the
Ah,
neatest thing, and she had on her
ah.
matching red and black rose dress. So everyone is decked to the nines here today. Tulle this year is the hot item because they can really fold the material to make different shapes and whatever they
Mm.
want it to do. So tulle is the hot item for the
Ah.
hats this year.
And
And of course, they always
yeah.
have horses of some sort on some
Oh
of them.
yeah. Oh yeah. Now, silly me, what is tulle? Explain this, because I have
Tulle
no clue what that is.
Yeah, so tulle is an actual fabric and it's a very thin fabric and I guess you could say porous and it's like a type of nylon. So it's a very thin
Ah,
fabric. You can
okay.
almost see little small holes in it as well.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, and I know that I probably felt it before, especially on like wedding kinds of things. And
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. It's sheer, it's very lightweight. It's typically, if you can think about bridal veils, it's
Hmm.
typically what a bridal veil is made out of is tulle.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. All right. Well, let's see. Since we have a number of them to go through, so how is the weather? Because I forgot to ask the most important question. How is the weather? We're all kind of crossing our fingers because we've had some rain here all day long. It's been just on and off rain here in Ohio. And we're about, let me see, 250 miles northeast of Louisville and of Churchill Downs. So, how's the weather out there?
Right now, it is pretty. It is 80 degrees overcast, but no rain. I think the torrential rain is coming up from west over here. Yeah,
Yay!
so I will take it.
No rain, little overcast and 80 degrees. I would definitely take that. I know the sun, even this time of year, can get a little wicked down there from what I hear. So, all right.
We also have a fashion question, Janine. Would you
Oh, yes.
like me to
Yes.
answer
Let's
that?
entertain. And who is our fashion question from?
It's from
Fashion.
Ben.
Ah,
And he wants to know, are there any men in this hat party, or is it mainly a female thing? So, Ben,
yeah.
absolutely, there are men and women. Actually, there was just a hat a few moments ago. I'm not sure if you heard it, but the gentleman was wearing a tall top hat with the horse on the front, and he had the horse had the rose in its mouth and the flag. So, men join in on the fun as well.
That is cool.
It
That
is
is a
traditional for men to wear um, bowler hats or fedoras. You'll see a lot of them in the audience, primarily white, I've been noticing throughout today. It's also traditional for men to wear seersucker suits, three-piece suits, bow ties, different colorful ties with a pocket square to match. It's traditional for them to wear their Sunday best, as so to speak,
Ooh.
off-white linen suits to keep the heat, as it is 80 degrees, as she said, and it can get a little swampy. So to
Yeah.
keep cool, you will notice all of the men totally decked out. It's not just a women's fashion thing. Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for listening. That was a great question. If you want to ask a question, please absolutely do so. You can do that in our Q&A here in Zoom, or you can do that in the Facebook group as well. So, ladies, I know we have at least one very popular Derby drink, which I am probably in the minority. I am not a mint julep fan, but the mint julep is like quintessential to Louisville and to the Derby. You guys have any fun facts? Oh, and we're losing your audio there, Amanda. Oops. Okay.
She may be in a low spot at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. There we go. Okay. Oops. Oh, and we are not able to really hear you, Amanda, at this point, but that's okay because we can see through your camera. And speaking of cameras, hopefully mine is behaving itself at the moment. All right. Now back to those. Oh. And I have a feeling we're getting all kinds of great info from Amanda that we can't hear. Ladies, what are we seeing from Amanda? I don't know if you can see anything there from her vantage point.
It's like she is just walking through. She is in a low spot, so she may be going to her seat, but here is just other guests that are walking around. It looks like it's underneath the stadium seating.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, we will wait for her to get into her seat. But let's go back to the information that you folks have, fun facts, before we go into the most important part, the horses and the jockeys, where Jocelyn and I are going to geek out. I was so excited to find out Jocelyn is a horse owner, so we're going to hear about that.
That's right.
Absolutely, because Janine's going to ask. Oh, awesome. So any other kind of fun facts, things that we might want to know?
You also mentioned the mint julep. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
not personally tried it either, but it is the Derby's iconic drink. It actually originated in Virginia and it was popularized by the Kentucky Derby. The official mint julep glass has been a collector's item since
Oh,
1939.
yeah.
Fun fact here is at the Downs, they actually use more than 20 tons of ice on drink day to serve with these mint juleps. Yes, and they actually have their own bourbon, which is the Woodford Reserve.
Oh, ooh. And Amanda's hearing us talk about bourbon. Woo-hoo. Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. I'm sure people will debate this till the end of time. It tastes like cough syrup. Okay. That's because Janine is not a bourbon fan. However, for those of you who like them, mojitos are great. Julep, yeah. But I am sure that half the fun of having one is having one here today for this particular setting with all of the pomp and circumstance. All right. Well, before we get into anything else, I'm just going to move a few things here in my setup so that I can read our second commercial from Aira. That's right. Before we get into the horses, we're going to talk about Aira. Events like the Kentucky Derby today and other upcoming events are brought to you in part through our Access Partner Network. And these are people like Target, Google, Bank of America, and many airports, state governments around the United States, and public attractions, and they actually pay for your use of Aira while you are using their products, their services, etc. And while you're navigating through the airport, whatever, our access network is at work. If you'd like to learn more about the Aira Access Network, you can go to our website, go to this link, www.aira.io/partners. And you can also look up in the Aira app, access partners near you, or if you're going on a trip, you can look and see if that airport is an Aira access location where your use of Aira will be free as you navigate around the airport. All right, it's time for the fun part. Let's get started with horses. So, who would like to start us out? We're going to talk about the field, which is typically 20 horses. It's extremely competitive and can literally change at the last minute.
Well, I absolutely love horses, so I will take the lead here and share this floor. There are some beautiful thoroughbreds at this race today, and you can tell that they are well maintained and cared for. They receive some of the top veterinarian care. They have trainers. They make sure that they are completely ready for this race, so that they're not overtaxed before they begin. Most of them that I've seen on the ground today are bay-colored horses. Bay-colored horses are, they have a reddish brown coat and typically have black tails and manes, and then different spottings on their bodies. Biggest would be the blaze. A blaze is a white patch that's typically in the forehead of a horse. And they all kind of vary between stars, long stripes. They may have a long blaze that's down the center of their foreheads as well.
So these are definitely things that you can tell by, if you're trying to tell the horses apart with all those bays, you can see those particular markings. But
Exactly.
whoa. Probably though, the most significant way to tell horses apart on that track are the jockeys and the silks. And we're going to go through all the horses here in a moment. But before we do that, let's talk jockeys and let's talk what they wear.
Absolutely. The racing silks, they are custom made jackets and caps that are worn by the jockeys at the Kentucky Derby and other U.S. horse races. Each owner has a unique design that's registered with the Jockey Club to ensure that no two jockeys wear the same silks in a race. And that's especially crucial if an owner has multiple horses competing at the same time. They facilitate in horse identification during the race, but they also embody deep-rooted traditions and pride that reflect the colorful history of American horse racing. They're each unique in color, with primary bright colors for visibility. Their patterns range from simple blocks of color to more intricate designs that will feature polka dots or stripes or checks. They also contain symbols or emblems, sometimes representing the horse's name or the owner's interests or a racing heritage. But each set of silks, it's more than just a uniform. It's a banner of loyalty to the team, the owner, or the trainer's colors. They're often passed down through generations. And that tradition adds a layer of richness to the visual spectacle of the race, connecting the present with the storied past of horse racing. They combine to make each jockey's appearance in the race not only a display of sport, but also moving art, rich with history and significance.
Oh, and the horses actually also have a little bit of color that they wear. The piece of equipment that goes on their head is usually matching the silks, right? And I am totally blanking on what that piece. I am so embarrassed as a horse girl that I cannot remember what that piece of equipment is called. But it is basically a mask that the horse wears. That's what it sort of looks like, and it is going to mirror the jockey silks as well. So, alrighty, okay, I've stretched it out enough. Let's get to those horses. And these horses also, we're going to refer to them by their number. And it's very contentious, very interesting to see how the pole positions are chosen and where a horse starts from the starting gate. So, ladies, let's go one at a time and see who we've got today.
The first one is Door Knock. Door Knock is number one. The jockey for Door Knock is Luis Saez. Luis is wearing red with white diamond pattern silks. The horse is a bay colt. And the background is that Door Knock gained attention with strong finishes in the Remsen and Fountain of Youth stakes.
Ooh, very nice.
Sierra Leone is
Ooh.
horse number 2, and the jockey is Tyler Gaffiliani. The silks are solid dark blue. The horse is a dark bay colt, and his background is he is a high value yearling, known for strong finishes and remarkable speed in the lead up races.
Ooh, very
Number
nice.
3 today is Mystic Dan. His jockey is Brian Hernandez Jr. He is wearing silks that are green with a white star on the front, and he is riding a bay colt. That one has a background that his stamina and strong finishes distinguish him, particularly in the long races. Next up today is Catching Freedom. His jockey is Flavian Pratt, and Flavian is wearing light blue with a white cross on the front of his silks. He is riding a bay coat as well. Background, he is
bays.
known, yes, lots of bays. That's what we're seeing today, lots of bays. Uh, this one is known for impressive stamina and strategic racing, making strong showings in the pre-derby events.
Ah,
Yeah. Next up is Cadillac, and his jockey is Jose Ortiz. Jose is wearing white with blue sleeves on his silks. And this one is a brown coat, so not a bay. We actually have a brown. Yeah, and he
oh.
has a diamond blaze. So that
Ooh.
marking there in his forehead is shaped like a diamond. And he is known for explosive starts and then maintaining a strong pace throughout the race.
Number 6 is Just Steel. His jockey is Keith Asmundsen. His silks are orange with a white circle on the front. He is a bay colt, and he is a solid contender with a strong history of strong finishes in competitive fields. Number 7 is Honor Marie. The jockey is Ben Curtis. His silks are orange with a black diagonal sash. It's a brown colt.
Ooh.
And his background is he competes fiercely in mixed fields, one of the few fillies challenging the colts at the Derby.
All right.
Next up is Just a Touch. The jockey is Florent Giroux. His silks are solid dark blue. This horse is also a bay colt. Known for his speed and agility, he shows promise in shorter high stakes races. Then Encino was scratched due to injury. Unfortunately, it was a dark bay colt jockeyed by James Graham. We will not be seeing Encino today. Next up is TO Password JPN. Jockey is Kazushi Kimura. The silks are red with yellow flames. It's a brown colt.
Ooh.
In the background is a Japanese contender that enters the Kentucky Derby with notable international experience and a strong track record in Japan,
Oh.
showcasing robust performance and stamina in overseas competitions.
Ooh. I love the silks on that one. That's impressive. Now, these are all blouses, right? The pants, though, are white that they wear, correct? Is that still the
That is
case?
correct.
All
Yes, that is
right.
correct. And the silks, the tops themselves are usually made from lightweight breathable materials like silk or synthetic blends, so they are comfortable, but they're also designed to be tight fitting to reduce wind
Mm,
resistance and fit
yep.
securely under the safety belt.
Mhm.
You want 11 through
Right.
15, Jocelyn?
Yay. Okay.
Absolutely. So let's see here. And I was just thinking, I thought maybe today when it got started, we may have seen some other jockeys in black today, black pants instead of the typical white.
Oh, how
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
wow.
That was a new one because they are typically white.
Yeah,
So let's
interesting.
see. We have Forever Young up next, and oh, his jockey. I know I'm going to kill this. I tried to practice, but I still can't get it. Ryushi, uh, Seikai, I think is what it was, and he is wearing maroon silks, and he is also on a bay coat. He is undefeated in Japan, showcasing exceptional versatility and speed with high expectations for his US debut this year.
Ooh, so we have at least two Japanese horses here. Wow, that's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Next one up is Track Phantom. Jockey is Joel Rosario. He is wearing black with red diagonal sash silks. He is also on a bay coat. And background is that he is rapidly rising through the ranks with an impressive early career performance. Next, we have Jesus Castanon. His silks have horizontal stripes in yellow, green, and white. He is actually on a gray coat, so a little bit different than the typical bay. So that gray coat is gray, but the reason that they are gray instead of white is because they actually have black bodies. So that gives them that gray color. So
So,
fun fact about that.
uh,
Yeah, his background is that he's noted for strategic placements and improving form in the lead up to the Derby. And we have Endlessly. Endlessly has jockey Umberto Rispello with dark blue silks with a red diagonal cross. And he is riding a bay coat with a white blaze on his head. And his background is that he has a consistent top three finisher in the pre-Derby race, known for endurance and tactical racing.
right. And our last group.
Number 15 is domestic product. The jockey is Irad Ortiz Jr. The silks are purple with a large yellow downward pointing triangle. This horse is a dark bay colt, and it shows consistent performances with a tactical edge in races trained by a top team. Next up is Grand Mo the First. His jockey is Javier Castellano.
Mhm.
The silks are yellow with a black diamond on the front. This horse is a dark bay colt, and this horse shows potential for upsets with strong finishes under pressure.
Ooh.
Next up is Fierceness. The jockey is John Velasquez. The silks are light blue with a yellow upward pointing arrow. This horse is a bay colt and dominated at the Florida Derby, showing top speed and emerging as a leading contender. Next up is Stronghold, jockeyed by Mike Smith. His silks are purple with a green diamond on the front. This horse is a bay colt who proved his worth with a standout performance at the Santa Anita Derby and is known for his resilience. We also have the next horse named Resilience. His jockey is Junior Alvarado. Horizontal stripes in green and purple are the silks. This horse is a bay colt, a strong contender with a notable victory at the Wood Memorial, demonstrating late race strength. Then we have Society Man, jockeyed by Frankie De Toro. His silks are purple with a green diagonal sash. This is a chestnut colt,
Oh,
consistent in qualifiers, known for his steady performance and a good track presence.
okay. So
Finally,
you know what we have to do before the final one? We have to find out what exactly is chestnut. Ooh, I know the
Chestnut
answer,
is
but
a. So are you sure you don't want to
oh,
share this one?
oh no, go for it. Go for it, Jocelyn.
Well, chestnut is still a brown, but it is more on the reddish brown side.
Mm. And they also have the brown mane and tail as well, right?
Some of them.
Awesome. All right, now we'll get to the last one.
Last one is Epic Ride, and his jockey is Adam Beshiza, wearing light blue silks with a red star on the front. He is also riding a chestnut colt.
Ooh,
His background is consistent in qualifiers, demonstrating a steady performance and a strong presence on the track, which has been notable aspects of his preparation and competitive strategy.
all right, folks. Those are the horses, the jockeys, the silks that we're going to be looking at here in a bit. Now, let's see if Amanda, what are we seeing from Amanda's video now?
That is going to be the world's largest screen, 4K screen.
Oh,
And I don't
whoa.
know the measurements on it offhand, but it's giant. You're right on the edge at the first turn of the race.
Oh, wow. So Amanda is, can you folks tell where she's standing kind of at this point or where she is?
She is. She's in the grandstands, currently in an area where most of the patrons are seated. Lots of folks are milling about. I see a lot of cell phones lifted up to take photos of the horses as they promenade through the paddock area. I see lots of very colorful hats, pastel colors on a lot of the gentlemen in
Ooh.
the crowd. All of the gentlemen I see, well, a large majority of the gentlemen I see are wearing jackets. They cannot be terribly comfortable in 80
I
degrees.
would think not, and it's pretty humid out there today too.
It
So
is, it's swampy. However, it is tradition. It is tradition. Now, were they to take those jackets off, we'd probably see just how warm they are underneath.
yeah, I would think so. I would think so. And do we have any questions from our audience here on Zoom or on Facebook that we see,
We
folks?
we do. We have a question from Tina. She's wondering, will there be a podcast about this event?
Yes, in fact, there will. And the event will be available on our YouTube channel once we are finished. It'll probably be up tomorrow on our YouTube channel, and we'll make it public as soon as we can. We'll probably get it cleaned up a little bit, and then we will make that public for you so you can review if you are watching the NBC Sports feed and you are thinking, wow, I'd like to hear everything that Ira said as well. You can tune us in then, or uh, I will also put this out on Ira Cast, so you will be able to hear it as a podcast as well. So
Excellent, excellent.
much excitement. Yeah. And thank you, Tina, for listening. We appreciate that. We appreciate everybody tuning into our events. We're going to have a number of events throughout the rest of the year. Some will be public, some will be private, but we are looking at an event service for Ira to cover things like conferences, but also these public events that you all said you wanted to hear about. So going forward, we would love some input from you. And if you would love to give us input, you can send a note to support@ira.io and just put events in your subject line and let us know what you would like us to cover. All righty, ladies. So we've got horses parading around the paddock area. Any other action there that we can see?
What I'm seeing out of Amanda's feed currently are large lighting elements. And it's
Mhm.
my understanding that those lighting elements didn't come to the Kentucky Derby until much later in its history. There was no permanent
Mm.
lighting at the Kentucky Derby for a long, long time.
Oh, wow.
But her camera was focused over these giant, absolutely enormous lighting that you can see and a live television screen. I do believe I read somewhere that it was one of the largest in the world.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you're going to get a good view of those horses, even if you are, in a seat that is further from the track, as they say.
Yes, because there are thousands of seats in
Mhm.
this area.
I
One
don't
of my
remember.
favorite, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I don't remember how many people this particular facility holds, but there are also people in the infield, which, boy, when I was watching it, I remember they had nobody in the infield.
I do not know that information. I will try to find it.
Mm, cool, cool. And you were saying, Rebecca?
It actually says that the Churchill Downs can hold 170,000
Whoa,
people.
wow. I will compare that to Ohio Stadium here at Ohio State, which holds about 106,000. So, wow, that is a big facility. Wow, wow. And of course, for the 150th running, pretty special day, I'm sure.
Absolutely. One of the favorite fun facts that we learned during the preparation for this is that the horses competing in the Derby are often given a pony companion to keep them
Oh,
calm throughout the day. The companion horses are they're referred to as a pony in quotes, but they're actually often older and more experienced horses. So they keep the racing thoroughbreds calm because it's a very stimulating and stressful environment with the
mhm.
giant crowds and all of the noises. They will guide the racehorses around the track during the pre-race warm-ups to help manage their behavior, reducing the risk of injury by keeping the horses settled and focused. I thought that was such an interesting tidbit of information. So if you see the horse walking alongside another horse, you know that that is their companion pony for the day.
Nice, nice. And many of these thoroughbreds in their home stables also have those companion animals. I remember one that had a goat one year. They were talking about the goat that hung out with this horse and is sort of that horse's support animal right there, the emotional support animal for the thoroughbred. All of these thoroughbreds that are in the race today, it looks like we only had one filly. Wow. I just remember when the first filly ran in the Kentucky Derby, but way back when in the dark ages. But all of these horses are 3 year olds. And I'll give you a fun fact about thoroughbreds and most horses that are registered. They all have the same birthday. They're all registered with January 1st as their birthday. Makes it a little bit easier to keep track of ages and things like that. But it also means that those horses that were born in December, if there are any of them, are older and probably a little more experienced. So I think most of these horses are probably, though, born in the spring, I would guess. But so, do you all have photos of these companion animals, their companion ponies? Any interesting looking ones out there?
So typically all I have seen is the ponies in the background behind
Oh,
the horses because the horse itself, the racehorse, is the
oh
most
yeah,
prominent.
oh yeah.
And so taking sort of a back seat in the photos themselves.
Mm.
Janine, I've learned that only three fillies have ever won the Kentucky
Yeah,
Derby
yeah.
in history.
Yeah, there haven't been many fillies that have even run in the Derby. Certainly many more over the years, but only three winners. And unfortunately, none of them won the Triple Crown. Of course, this is the first leg of Thoroughbred Racing's Triple Crown. This is going to be followed by the Preakness and then the Belmont Stakes in June, I believe. And each of these races has a certain flower that's associated with it. And I know the Preakness are black-eyed Susans, and I don't remember the flowers for the Belmont, but those are your 3 races you want to look out for after this one. So if you are new to horse racing, and let's
That
see.
flower is the white carnation.
Ooh, white carnations. Ooh, and here is Amanda. And what are we seeing from Amanda here?
A vibrant blue hat with giant feathers.
Ooh.
Actually 2, one to her left and one to her
Oh my
right.
goodness.
Vibrant blue
Whoa.
feathers sticking out everywhere all over the hat. Actually, this one is a fascinator. A fascinator is a smaller hat, typically held on the head by a headband, and they've gained popularity over the years as sun protection isn't the most vital at the race. So it sometimes you'll see people wearing fascinators as what they think is going to be a smaller statement. However, the hats themselves make just as grand of a statement as the traditional hats.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Yes. I was trying to make my own derby hat before we started today. And unfortunately, the same cat that I picked up decided that she liked the ribbons that were on the hat much better. All right. Let's see. Well, we are getting closer post time today. We'll be at 6:57 p.m. I believe that's correct. And with that, let's see. Now, we do have, I believe, a feed that you ladies can see from NBC Sports. And minus the commercials, is there anything that you can tell us about that particular feed?
I'm looking at drone footage of the crowd walking around the actual dirt track itself. It's not the crowd, actually, because they've gotten closer, and I believe it's the owners and the owners' entourage.
Yeah.
They are decked out, as all the patrons are as well.
Of the 150th Kentucky Derby.
Ooh, here we go. That is the announcer from the actual stadium where Amanda is. And let's see, what are we looking at here? And I think maybe we have lost Amanda's audio.
So I know it's challenging to hear her if she is
Yeah.
to speak. So she is currently watching the same parade that I'm watching on NBC News, but close up in real time as
Yeah.
the horses, owners, jockeys, and entourage parade through the dirt track. They are all walking on foot the dirt track. And something that's notable is that most patrons to the Kentucky Derby wear dress shoes. However, the people that I'm seeing walking on this track are absolutely not. They have traded for sneakers and sandals.
Oh my.
Occasionally, some are barefoot. However, they are still wearing their very brightly colorful dresses, giant hats, and being interviewed live by folks from
my.
NBC.
Oh my. I think I would skip the sandals. Just saying. You either have to go bare feet or old shoes.
Exactly.
Oh my. And I will warn, let's see what we have here. I will warn everyone that audio is going to be a bit challenging. So we will try our best to have some live audio during the race, but that could be a little difficult. So Rebecca and Jocelyn are going to jump on in if needed. We're not going to call the race, but we are going to try our best to let you know what's going on. We would encourage you, though, if you are out there to tune into NBC Sports if you want to actually hear the calling of the race. NBC Sports or Peacock, they both carry the race today.
We do have a question from Tina.
Yes.
And Tina's question is, where's the ambiance?
Ah, the ambiance, you ask. And this is something that until I can go with all of my full professional microphones or Sid can go, it's a little hard to provide ambiance through a cell phone, unfortunately. But we can try. You've been hearing Amanda in the background. It really does take some professional audio equipment to really get the ambiance of a place like this. It's a little difficult through the cell phone. So we apologize for that, but and we know that you would love to be able to hear what's going on, and we are hoping that that will come through well during the race. I know there are probably tons of people with cell phones up in the air there, and we will see what we can do for you. Ambiance is a big part of this, and it is really difficult to get that without some professional equipment. So, you guys can lobby Troy Tilio and tell him to send Sid and I next year to the Kentucky Derby. We're happy to go, no
Press
problem, right,
credentials.
Sid?
Press
Yeah,
credentials.
exactly. Press credential. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I've had press credentials for an air show, and let me tell you, you get some cool behind the scenes stuff. So, and Sid has done that obviously for a living, right, Sid?
A little bit of it, yes, a little bit of
Oh,
it. But
oh,
we do have live video going with Amanda, and we'll see if we can in a moment switch back some of the
yeah,
audio and
yeah. Let's
see what we
see.
can get the
See what we can get here, folks.
Well,
How are you?
Amanda's audio is
did you
up.
just get your ticket?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We had a Ford,
Oh.
and when they couldn't make it, so we sold it, so you got it. Yes.
I'm at Aira. We're providing visual interpretation, providing the
Oh, awesome.
to a good cause. So we're providing live visual interpretation for that.
Very good.
All right. Educating on behalf of Ira. Go, Amanda. Yeah. Awesome. Wow. And I am wagering that people at this event have no idea that folks around the country, around the world, are wondering what an event like this is like if you can't see. And I'm sure it's like most sporting events, very loud.
Yes, so you're absolutely right. Very loud, and the ambiance is going to depend on where you are in the space. So, as we heard from Amanda, you could hear the conversations right around her more prominently than, say, the noise of the event itself or the space itself. You can hear the conversations of the people next to her. It depends on how much Woodford Reserve they've had thus far as to how colorful they are going to be.
Gotcha. And right now, my dog is having a big dream over here, so I'd be able to hear him too. Goodness. I think he's dreaming about running around that track.
And I have some visual of the race as well. So now everyone completed that circle around the track, and they have returned to the paddock areas. And as they're walking the track, different news personnel, they're interviewing the trainers and the owners as they go around the track for the horses.
Ah. And do you ladies have who our favorites might be? We've got some audio there from Amanda.
Sierra Leone is one of the top contenders and favorites.
Mm-mm. That's what I had read. And let's see. What are the odds? Because I know that we have a little bit of information. There were some people who were curious about betting on the Derby.
Right now, the Sierra Leone is at 9-2.
Okay. And
Amanda's audio is just a little bit intermittent right now,
yeah,
but
a little bit choppy there. Mhm.
we'll go ahead and give it a moment or two, but a little bit of questions as far as maybe describing how many levels there are of the stadium. If there could be, if our visual interpreters could describe how stacked up it is. I mean, we got a good idea of how many people are there, but it's not
How
just a
high does this thing
describe
go?
the grandstand.
As I watch the drone footage from NBC go overhead, it does appear that there's the ground level, and then there's an upper level, and then above that upper level, there are 4 or 5 more stacked levels within the grandstand, and they each have tiered seating within them. So much like you would see at a concert hall or a live theatrical performance, the tiered seating applies within each level of grandstand. I do not have the exact number, looking for that information, but what I can see visually from Amanda and from NBC News is the ground level, the racetrack level in the paddock area, and then an upper level, and then 4 or 5 levels coming tearing off of to the top of that level itself.
Sounds like quite a I remember seeing the grandstands, but I never realized how big they actually were, and I'm sure they've grown over the years. And what springs to mind?
Also eligible is having got fearful covered out. Which is the second choice. You have 6-1. Actually, 2-1. Judge the touch. I'm really thinking some action as well. No real surprises in the wagers.
Yeah, no real surprises, except for maybe the sort of
What you are hearing now
I mean,
is Amanda's audio live
50 to
from
1
Churchill
across the board.
Downs.
So possibly just can't make sense of sort of that third tier runners in here, and are just sort of going after them. Sort of, well, it might be interesting to think about how to approach that.
We just lost Amanda's feed for a moment, but we'll connect back to her in just a moment, hopefully. But I would say let's go ahead and continue a little bit more about the description of what we've got, what folks are going to be looking forward to, what a race is like.
So are nominated from each one.
There we go.
We're bringing Amanda back on. Amanda's back in.
Special precious jewels this year for the 150th edition from Aira to Maze. We are going to bring a 150th winner of the world's greatest race coming up here in just 30 minutes.
A whole 30 minutes to post time.
Who is looking good, who is acting good. And Kevin was talking the race last year. Verifying the six bars absolutely went and we've seen really cases the last couple of years that set up for closers, and Rich Strike before him. Down here, getting door knocked on the inside, has another horse that likes to go forward. Handful of others I would say that one of the animals right here, Phantom comes to mind. There's this proposed position number 17. He likes to be forward as well. He's from inside of it. The potential 3-1 should. I don't know what's going to happen coming out of the starting group if the trip that he wants.
He should. Before the ride drew in, it seemed like everything was going to go his way. That's been one big question. It's having ride uncomfortable. Maybe get here to see when. We definitely see forward moves from the 21. Dornock, he's really got to get out of that game quick. He's going to clear the field, but everybody's going to be coming down quick. All the horses wants to get close to the rail, save as much ground as possible. So he's going to have to be speedy. Just a touch is a big question. We've seen him go forward. We've seen him be quick from the gates. But here, time and again, honestly, they're going to rate him a bit more. Sit a little bit off. But slow things up. Set up really nice track banner. Also, they set the table for Pierce, which I think will be sooner than you might think.
Yeah, it's definitely be interesting. Just a touch in that regard is a little bit of a lot. It's certain that Ornoff is obviously going to go tested for trail.
and teal password of the Japanese one shot, as well for the young Japanese and the forward too. Let's talk about the merits of seriousness of your top pick here, a 3-1 favorite. In well documented, he's had 3 dominating performances. He's the fastest horse in the race, no matter what metric you use. One of the things the fastest race we've seen on the road to the Triple Crown so far this year, moving into the Derby, and getting it out to the neck. Because the race is relaxed at the half marathon. It's actually a previous performance like this, but he doesn't always win his stage games. That being said, when he gets in a rhythm, we'll know that you're not in the first turn. I'll get a chance this horse is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, the knocks on him are he's had the chance to prove his heart and couldn't, right? He wasn't able to get to find some horses, but he wasn't able to get Yates clearly a couple races back. That every other pattern, you know, which appears is going to show up. But here's my case. He set such a strong foundation as a 2-year-old. I'd love to see that sort of show you what the potential is. He's gotten better, gone deeper into his, all his talents, but hadn't gone too far, right? He hasn't gone too far. He take a step forward in this race, Joe, just in terms of looking at the thoroughbred, seeing how his form has gone forward. Even if he takes a step back, it's still not there.
He hasn't overcome adversity, and he hasn't been in the valley yet. Maybe that'll happen today. We'll have to wait and see. Leon has been battle tested. He's overcome adversity. He did it in the rhythm style. He did it in the bluegrass. He delayed the start of the bluegrass by 3 minutes before he finally after the started. He was drawn on the extreme outside. Always drawn in position number 2. That would be detrimental to a lot of horses, but as a bluegrass at that point, so I'm going to want to face some ground. How much traffic is going to be here? How wide is it going to have to go? How fast is the pace going to be? There's a lot of questions, but I will say this. I'm very confident he's going to make this run.
What we are hearing is live audio from Amanda, our visual interpreter. Some of the live audio, of course, a bit garbled because it's pretty loud, I'm sure, where she is sitting. Once we start the race and we get everything going, we will have more of that live audio. Ladies, can you describe the actual racetrack? Because it's not a circle.
That's correct. It's an oval, and it's made of special dirt called Louisville loam, Louisville dirt. It's It's an oval, and it is how long was that? It's 170, a 1-mile oval racetrack and a 7-furlong turf race course.
Mm-hmm. And I never knew what a furlong was. I mean, I probably knew it at one point in my obsession, but that has probably gone the way of mint juleps, I think. So, do you guys have info on how long is a furlong? And we're still looking at Amanda's video here on screen. And if anybody wants to jump in and see what we're looking at, probably the same kind of thing.
It's an eighth of a mile.
Oh, an eighth of a mile. All right.
But we're currently looking out of her feed. We're seeing a plane flying overhead in a very clouded sky, trailing a sign. However, it is too far away. If I were on the Aira dashboard, I would take a photo to zoom in and to read that message that is trailing in the sky. But typically out of Amanda's video feed, the most prominent image that I receive, besides the blue sky, the large lighting, and the live video footage from that giant feed, are the hats. The hats are everywhere. Every female's head has a fascinator or a wide-brimmed hat with lots of feathers and lots of color. And then every man's head, pretty much every man's head, has a white or off-white hat, a fedora, a cowboy hat, a bowler hat. They are literally everywhere. And the fashions are a lot of florals. Lots of different colorful floral patterns, very vibrant, very rich floral patterns. I'm seeing both traditional elegant springtime fashions, but I'm also seeing more modern twists on it with shorter dresses and small modern fascinators, typically worn to the side of the head with
Oh.
just as much tulle or feathers or adornments as the large wide brimmed hats that Amanda is displaying today and that other traditionalists at the Derby are displaying. The fascinators are just smaller versions.
And they're usually on headbands, right?
They are, or they're pinned to the head the way a traditional hat would have been. But oftentimes you will see them on like a thin headband going from side to side near the ears to keep it in place because it is not a full hat. It doesn't cover the whole head. It's just typically cocked to one side. And oftentimes it'll have a veil. Fascinators will have a veil over the face or an area that branches out over the face near the ear with the same tulle and feathers and colors as the traditional hats. I've been seeing some hats in the audience that are a tall spray of material, either feathers or tufted tulle or tulle with wire that is bent to make it splash on top of the head in a very large grand statement. So I can imagine some of these ladies are finding themselves several inches taller with these hats on their head. I can also imagine it is really kind of a costumey feeling to go out and parade around in Louisville with this on your head. You have to feel in the spirit in the moment.
Oh, yeah. And there have been Derby events all week. So this is literally from, people who live in Louisville. It takes over the city. But there have been events all week. And then there is another race. Shouldn't have said that because I'm totally blanking on the Oaks, I believe. And that was, if I am not wrong, I believe that was yesterday. Trying to remember all of my factoids here.
Yeah, I just looked that up. You're absolutely, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, but there were parties everywhere, it sounded like. And I know, when I was a little kid watching Secretariat, I had my own Derby party. So,
They've been partying for over 2 weeks with different festivals in the Kentucky area, and they've had over 70 events. They have also a very large fireworks show. It's an air show, steamboat race, the Pegasus Parade, the bed race, which actually features teams racing creatively decorated beds on wheels.
Oh boy.
Some fun things.
Oh my gosh, that would have been hilarious. Okay, Sid, that's it. We're going next year. That's it.
Fabulous.
Yes, yes. And we'll just get Churchill Downs to fund Ira, and there we go. We're there.
Aira access point.
That's right, Ira access point, and away we go. I can pull off I'm imagining that people's necks and shoulders are going to be really sore from these big hats.
And that's probably true. They are typically made of lightweight materials. So for that reason, but they do have all these embellishments on them. And I can imagine some of them are a little more heavy. Now, the one we saw in the very beginning when Amanda was entering the grandstands with what I can only imagine was made of paper mache horse head. I can imagine that gentleman is going to need a few mint juleps to get through the evening with that on his head.
So, yes.
I am seeing on the NBC Live footage, I'm seeing the jockeys all coming down the stairs, walking toward the area where I can only imagine they will greet their horses. They are all wearing white pants. I can confirm that all of the jockeys that I am currently seeing on this NBC footage in their beautiful silks, they're very vibrant and colorful with their white pants today.
Awesome. The black ones are the practice pants. You don't want to get the white ones dirty during practice. Janine assumes. Wow. And the jockeys also wear some safety gear for obvious reasons. They do wear a helmet, of course. This is a dangerous sport, folks. Horses bump into each other, and sometimes unfortunate things happen. But I know that everyone tries to minimize that. And these horses are literally bred to run. It's what they like to do. And it's what
Another
they
fun fashion that I'm seeing right now on the feed is a gentleman in a suit out of the, well, not out of, but made like the American flag. So the
oh
red, white, and
my.
blue, the stripes, the stars are over his right shoulder, and stripes are running
Oh,
vertical of his body. And
oh
he is adorned
wow.
in a hat as well. Well,
All
actually just took
right.
it off. So
Oh my.
Another interesting visual element to note is that as the horses get ready for the race, I am seeing a large section of security officers
Mm.
standing guard in a semicircle
Mhm.
around the audience that are on the infield. I
Mhm.
can only imagine what they are securing as the um, as the winner of this race is going to receive quite a hefty sum of money, and it will
Yes.
increase the horse's breeding value by millions. So I can
Oh yeah.
imagine that there are nefarious things afoot, and the security officers have a
Mhm.
tough job. They are all standing in line like you would see at any other live event
Wow.
to protect the audience from entering areas they're not supposed to be.
Awesome. And they want to keep that track protected because you don't want anyone throwing anything inadvertently or intentionally onto the track, causing injury and other mayhem.
We do have
So,
another question, Janine, and this is from Tina. Tina doesn't
okay.
have a TV, so she was wondering how she could access the live feed from NBC or Peacock. Maybe you could
If
elaborate a little bit?
Sure. If you have Sirius FM radio, it is also on Sirius FM. I'm afraid I don't know which station it is, but it is on Sirius FM. So if you happen to have that, or if you have one of the smart speakers, you can also ask if there is a skill for your smart speaker and where you can listen. Um, in terms of Peacock and NBC Sports, it I am not sure where you can listen to that if you don't have a lot of ATV. But surprisingly, people more and more are ditching their TVs for their phones. Now, if you do have a phone, the Peacock network has an app. It's moderately accessible. The NBC Sports app is actually pretty good. And I will tell you coming up, just a little plug here for NBC Sports, they are going to be offering a lot of audio description for the Olympics coming up in July and the Paralympics coming up at the end of August. There will be more audio description for the Paralympics than ever before. There's going to be a lot more Paralympic coverage than ever before, which is pretty exciting as well. So, big shout out to NBC Sports for that. Now, if we can get them to, choose us to do the audio description and visual interpreting next year, that'll be great. So, believe
We've
me.
got we've got Amanda's video feed still going at the moment.
Ooh, let's see.
And if you'd like, I could try switching back a little bit to see if the audio
Sure,
is a
let's
little better.
let's see what we've got there.
All right, stand by.
Stand by for ambiance.
I think this is a live one. It's one to consider. I mean, possibly the one like Red Stripe, you upset Cyril.
We'll have to wait and see about that. Next fan we want to talk about very quickly. Talk about the 12 guys. That's saying putting blinkers on for Steve Asmussen. Winner of the government, winner of the comp, the second place finisher, and the Risen Star. Fourth thing that he's going to do, he kind of hit a wall. But Steve has put blinkers on this horse, and we'll see if that changes up his running style, which was changed up a little bit in the mornings here leading up to the Derby. He will be forward. He might outperform his odds. He's 40-1. 15 minutes to post time. Kentucky Derby, 150.
Jockeys. These are the roughest riders be around the world, the real cowboys. And who better to get them off their feet than a dear friend of mine? She's cooking up something hot. It's time for the riders up at Derby 150. You did?
Ooh.
Racing fans, please bring your attention to the paddock, where renowned lifestyle expert and media mogul Martha Stewart will lead us in Riders Up.
Oh my.
and the Commonwealth of Connecticut, Kentucky. I was going to say Connecticut. Welcome you to the 150th anniversary race.
Guys, I don't know if you can put anything over this a little bit.
All
We've
we can
got-
see from Martha on top of the footage that Amanda is showing is that she is wearing off-white, and she did appear to have a hat on her head, although it did not look as
Alright.
grand as some in the stands.
Oh, well. There we can hear some nice.
Once they got to the paddock and once it walked around completely fine when they were saddled as well. And then I had a chance to get a look at Forever Young. He was relatively settled when he was in here. Then he got a little bit stirred up when they went and saddled him. So they went and saddled him in the auxiliary type of stall. So he was pretty fine once they ended up getting him saddled. Just a little bit anxious, I would think. But there was one horse out of this whole field, and when he walked into the paddock, he took my breath away. He walked in like he completely owned the joint. That horse is 48 to 1, and it is T.O. Password, who I think is the X factor in this race. He walked in looking better than the rest of the horses, whether it's T.O. Password, whether it's Forever Young. I think the Kentucky Derby this year goes for his other rising sun. I'm going to go with Troy.
I am laughing and smiling because T.O. Password is for Troy. It's Helio. So, boss, there's the one you need to bet on.
For 7 months since the points began being earned.
Oh,
I muted audio just for a moment because we had another question, and it had to do with if it's possible to listen in on radio. And I did look up, and it looks like some of the local stations within the Kentucky state area are carrying it. ESPN 80 in Louisville, Shelbyville and Frankfurt 105.7. But it looks like there are some sports radio stations that are carrying the race, but it's not. It is being offered through NBC Sports Audio, but that's also tied, I believe, to the XM Radio app. But Tina, it definitely is. She was asking again about another place where she might be able to listen in the feed there. But it may be worthwhile to check your local FM and AM bands as we get closer to the race, because we're getting almost time for the race.
We are getting there. And T.O. Password, one of the Japanese horses. I love it, 48 to 1. But when you walk in like you own the place, that's awesome. I love that. So Troy was asking earlier, the staff at Aira, who he should place his bets on. So I think,
My old Kentucky home is starting, if anyone wants to hear.
Here we go. All right. The singing of my old Kentucky home, signaling that we are getting close. We're about 10 minutes from post time, folks. And that is a great tradition.
And I can confirm visually that everyone stood for that musical exercise as they were able.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is definitely one of those great traditions, and the song that is associated forever with the Kentucky Derby. Ow. So what else are we seeing, ladies, as we look around through both Amanda's video and our NBC Sports feed? And hello, Troy Attilio, our fearless CEO is out there watching live. Welcome to you. Welcome to everybody who is listening out there live. For the calling of the race, we will go to Amanda's audio feed. And I hope that the audio is not perfect, folks, but we are definitely trying to get you the best that we can.
Number 7
There we go.
is Honor Marie, trained by Rick Beckman with Ben Curtis. Number 8 is Just a Touch, trained by Brad Cox with the Roux.
Here are the horses as they are being paraded out to the starting gate.
Number 10 is Geo Password, trained by Daisuke Sakayanagi with jockey Kazushi Kimura.
And he's going to be
Number 11 is Forever Young, trained by Yoshiko Yahaki.
Oh, there's a big favorite.
Sakari. Number 12 is Track Vento, trained by Steve Asmussen with Joel Rosario.
Jocelyn, as those horses are coming out, do you see those? Are those their
Number
companion
13
ponies with them?
West
Do you think?
Saratoga.
Those are companion ponies, it seems.
All right.
Astronaut.
Awesome.
Number 14 is Endlessly, trained by Michael McCarthy with Umberto Rispoli.
Those companion animals seem to be
Number
just a little
15 is
ahead.
Domestic Product,
I believe that's
trained by
intentional.
Chad Brown with a Rat Ortiz Jr. Number 16 is Grand Hope the First, trained by Victor Barbosa Jr. with Ishmael Caramillo. Number 17 is Fierceness, trained by Todd Fisher
Another crowd
and Ron
favorite.
Belamster. Number 18 is Stronghold, trained by Phil D'Amato with Antonio Fresu.
So far, the only horse I've seen without a companion
Number
pony was number 10.
19 is Brazilian, trained by Phil Lutz with Junior Alvarado. Number 20 is Society Man, trained by Danny Gargan with Frankie Dettori. 21 is Epic Ron, trained by John Ennis with Adam Skixa.
Okay. Here's
I just caught a glimpse in the crowd of the first pair of gloves I've seen on a woman. I rather expected to see more, as it's a traditional formal fashion statement.
Super hot today. Oh,
And
goodness.
Rebecca, you are correct. Those ponies are, I'm seeing it on the feed now, they're just ahead of the contenders. That is to help them manage their behavior and then reduce the risk of injury and keeps them kind of settled and focused as they're going around the track here.
They can see their buddy there. Wow. I can only imagine, because you all could hear from Amanda's feed how loud it is with the music and everything. And, these horses are used to it. They run at tracks all over the country. And the noise levels, I'm sure, is something that they get used to as they're trained and whatnot. But whoa, the emotion, certainly, I'm sure they're picking up on that as well. So are we seeing them beginning to be loaded into the gates now?
That is correct. And also from this footage, I've been able to see a little better the grandstand area you all were asking about. The twin spires are actually set down a little bit between these two elements of grandstand. So
45 years before women.
there's the track level, and then there's the upper level. And then the grandstands are 5 more levels, and they rather resemble cruise ships levels. The way I've observed cruise ship levels, how they are oval and sort of on a deck, so to speak. So I see the 5 elements of layers of grandstand, and then the 2 spires that are set down between the sections of grandstand. So 5 on one side, 5 on the other, and 2 spires in between.
Wow. Wow.
Beginning on a May afternoon in 1875 on a plot of land south of Louisville, the Derby has been run every year, as reliable as a sunrise over the spires. It has been postponed only twice, during 2 of the most challenging years in the country's history, 1945 and 2020. It abides not just because it's the most important and valued horse race in America, although it is a place where greatness is validated. And people think, yeah.
And we are
The
hearing
Derby also lives because it is so much more than a sporting event.
audio
It is
live.
a part, not just for 150,000 of Churchill Downs, but for millions more across the country, for all who embrace the style of the day. It is a holiday, impervious to time and change, piece of American culture, enduring and essential, a deep tradition, calling us back on the first Saturday in every May.
As you can hear, we have the some ambience here from Churchill Downs, 150th run of the Kentucky Derby. Wow. And what are we seeing during this chaos? Or at least what sounds like chaos.
I believe they're still going through with some of the race preparation. A moment ago, looked like Amanda actually had a shot of a drone that was flying over part of the track as well.
Oh man.
No, Rebecca, please.
Through her live camera, it still is a similar picture to what it's been. However, the seats around her are full now, where they had been sparse and people had been milling about. Everyone has come and taken their place at their seats. The chaos, the cacophony that we hear from her appears to be mostly the live audience, as we do not see through her feed what is happening on the track, because the hats are in her way.
Oh no, the hats are in the way.
They can be, absolutely. They are that grand. I will keep this in mind. Shall I visit the Kentucky Derby? That I will use my height to my advantage and wear a low profile hat for others.
Wow. Nice. Well, I think we will have a good sound though from the announcer once we get underway. Very exciting. We are getting closer and closer, folks.
All those lights that I was talking about earlier that are on very tall poles also seem to have surround speakers. So that's probably why we're able to hear that announcer so well wherever Amanda is in the grandstand area. Lots and lots of audio there in the live footage.
Nice. And there we are with and we are getting closer. I want to thank everyone out there as we hear the ambience from Churchill Downs. We are not close to the track, folks. We are up in the stands, so we're not going to be able to hear those hoofbeats you wanted to hear.
I see from Amanda's footage that there are some folks hitting a large beach ball, but in the style of a baseball. It looks like a baseball, but it is a blown up beach ball, and they are passing it around in the audience around her. It is going from person to person. It's very much enjoyable for the audience themselves as they wait for the event to begin. I'm noticing more in her footage the fashions from the men. When you are up close, these jackets that everyone is wearing, some of them are actually patterned. I didn't realize, but they're off-white and pink with floral patterns of their own. Blue jackets, gray jackets, but so the traditional jacket, but then also with a little flair on the men as well.
Nice.
One of the women directly in front of Amanda has a large rose fascinator on, and that rose is in full bloom.
Beautiful.
And they actually just showed some footage of the trophy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. That's on the NBC feed right now. They just showed the actual trophy.
It is huge, as I recall.
Yes. Some fun facts on that trophy was that it was designed specifically for this race. It was handcrafted, and it is 14 karat solid yellow and green and gold. And it took over 6 months to complete it. So it's adorned with a 14 karat gold horseshoe with a horse rider on the top, and then they had it adorned with some red roses.
We are loading up as you can tell. We're a little late on our post time, but stick with us. And I think they were waiting to load one of the horses.
And for the 150th time.
Here we go.
And they're off to the Fierceness was off its hit back and is trying to recover. Chuck Fenton showing good speed today and is racing toward the lead. Then from the far outside, Epic Ride is racing out there too in this historic run beneath the Twin Spires in Derby 150. And there's 4 across the track early. Track Fenton down toward the inside, just still in between. Fierceness is right there. Third on the outside. Epic Ride comes up racing in toward the middle of the first turn. Stronghold is fifth. Just so much to get to the sixth. Mystic here in the middle 7th. Brazilians is racing in Catalytic from the inside 9th. Society Dance in 10th. Forever Young in between horses racing 11th. Domestic Product 3 wide and 12th. Dornock is off pace today at 13th. Captain Freedom is 14th. And then it's Trevor Young moving up into 15th. Granville the first is 16th. Sierra Leone is 17th. Tio Password is 18th. Endlessly is 19th. And Anna Marie is 20th and last. A demanding pace in the Derby, 46 and 3/5 seconds. And it's Track Phantom, Just Steel, and Fierceness. The 3 of them right across the track with 4 furlongs to go. And Mystic Dan is right there in behind racing for Sydney Brown. Epic Ride starts to move up on the outside. Epic Ride is moving up in the 4th. Stronghold is there. Resilience is launching his rally now. Here comes Resilience with a 5-wide swing. And Forever Young is rallying for the lead. It is wide open. Epic Freedom for the top. Gets by. Now off the turn. Mystic Dan up the corner. And grabs the lead at the top of the track. Sierra Leone and Forever Young are still too late to make up on Mystic Dan. One million for the wire. Forever Young and Sierra Leone. Keep on coming. Sierra Leone is
Wow.
Mystic Dan, Sierra Leone, and Forever Young in a
Kentucky Derby
Wow.
under wraps.
Wow.
Great
Now,
time we had. Thank you all for
thank
joining
you.
us. I'll
Thank you
turn it back over to
so
you and mute myself because it's really loud here.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Amanda. And for those who could not hear, kind of like me, who won?
Well, that's a great question, Janine. I'm waiting for the footage to catch up because we couldn't hear either. It sounded like Mystic Dan, but I'm waiting for the live
Oh,
feed from
wow.
NBC News to catch up to
Wow.
Amanda's really actual live feed. What I want to
Wow.
point out is during that race, what we could see from Amanda's feed is Amanda holding up her camera for Aira footage, but everyone else holding up their cameras as well.
All
Every
right.
time the horses would come near her area of the grandstands, all cell phones went in the air.
All right. Well, excellent. All right. And wow. And as we are waiting here on the NBC Sports feed to catch up, as I was gathering from the announcing of the race, it was quite close at the end with, I believe, Resilience and Sierra Leone right up there, which was expected actually. And now I have to see how Tio Password did. Hopefully he did well. And what are we seeing, ladies?
I believe it is Mystic Dan.
Oh,
And they are covering stats and stuff now
oh
on the
my.
live feed, but he has a very serious look on his face as he's looking up at the scoreboard. So I think he's confirming, did I win? Did I win?
Oh boy. It's funny. I mean, they actually do have expressions, these horses.
They're
And
showing close-up footage of the very end of the race, and it is all three horses right
oh
in line
my.
with one another. Very photo finish.
Wow.
Absolutely. They had to go back to the footage to check and make sure because they were all nose to nose.
Oh wow. Oh,
Exactly.
wow. Wow. And it's an excellent, excellent race. Excellent when the finish is like that, when you just don't know until the very end, and then they're relying on photos, and I'm sure the drones were probably helping as well.
So Mystic Dan had he had a longer gap at first, and then Sierra Leone caught up with them, and there's one more that was with them at the photo finish, and I'm waiting to hear who that third horse was.
I'm thinking Resilience, but I could be wrong. Wow. And Fearless was kind of, I wonder where he ended up in the pack too, because he was one of the favorites at one point, but wow. And so you all could hear the excitement, absolute excitement in the crowd. And as you can imagine, at any sporting event, but particularly at the end of this amazing race, we want to thank everyone for coming out. We're not done yet. Trust me. We're going to look at the winner's circle when we get there. But it's been a fun time. We've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. Thanks to Amanda, visual interpreter, for coming to the Kentucky Derby. And she is probably making her way to the parking lot right now. I think probably I would. But we also have with us no longer agents, visual interpreters, Rebecca and Jocelyn and Sid, my producer, who is also a very familiar voice to many of you. He's also one of our visual interpreters. So
It looks like it was a photo finish. It was a fantastic race.
wow.
And very exciting. And we do have other folks piping in over on Facebook. Ryan even says hello.
Hey, Ryan.
One of our former
yes. One of our former compatriots in live events. Hey,
absolutely.
Ryan lives in the Louisville area now, so I'm sure he was quite excited about this whole adventure.
No, it looked like it was a fabulous event. Quite an exciting time for all that were involved, um, as well. And I do think our visual interpreters did a fantastic job of
Absolutely.
describing a very unique event in sports, American
Yeah.
sports. It's not like a traditional soccer, football game or things like that. This is it's something else. But
Yeah.
yeah, they have posted the results, and it's Mystic Dan,
Ooh.
Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and then Catching Freedom.
Ooh.
It looked
Oh,
like this. I
wow.
just noticed
Okay,
that.
so lots of result. Okay, and I believe Forever Young was a crowd favorite in the area that Amanda was sitting in there. So that's awesome. Great. Wow. Well, thank you.
Something that I'm finding fascinating that I'm watching, and I just want to point out from a visual interpreter standpoint, is that currently someone is on a horse from NBC News and walking around the track with a microphone next to the winner, next to Mystic Dan,
Oh,
as he
wow.
rides the horse. She is wearing a red coat, a double-breasted red coat. She's wearing a helmet just like the other jockeys, but she is riding next to him, holding the microphone in one of her hands up to his mouth to
Okay, I
get
want that job.
that
I want that job. That's it.
to get that interview.
Jocelyn and I are gonna fight for that job. How cool is that? Wow. That is great.
I
Wow.
don't imagine when you go into broadcasting, you imagine that you will be doing an interview on horseback.
Oh my goodness. And you're going to get to wear your fox hunting gear there, it sounds like.
Bright
With the
red, just
red
like the
jacket.
roses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Bright
nice.
red pants as well.
Oh, wow.
And they're
Okay.
still doing, like, they are currently conducting this interview
Oh my
on
gosh.
horseback.
Oh, wow. My goodness, that poor jockey. Although this is quite a celebration for the jockeys. I believe it was last year, and I'm trying to recall whether it was Colombia or Venezuela. One of the jockeys was from that country, and it was, I believe, a first winning for someone from that country of the Kentucky. It was a really big deal, and it just very, very full of tradition, very, very honorable to have won this race. So very exciting.
Well, excellent. Well, I think if
I
we're pretty much at
believe
the
that
end.
we are winding down, folks. So I want to thank everyone. Remember, events like this are brought to you by Aira. If you'd like to learn more about our professional visual interpreters, our app for the mobile phone, both iOS and Android, Mac and PC for our web app, you can visit our website at www.aira.io. We will be having another live event on May 16th, Global Accessibility Awareness Day, where we will get to know our new AI product, Access AI, the only AI whose results can be verified by professional visual interpreters. I'm Janine Stanley, and I'd love to thank, first of all, those amazing visual interpreters. Amanda, who was live from Louisville, from Churchill Downs. She is on her way home now. And we have Rebecca and Jocelyn. Thank you, ladies. It was so much fun.
Thank
So
you,
much fun.
Janine.
It was a pleasure being here.
I
Give
have to
those
point out we're
horses a
both
snack.
Southerners. We're both Southerners,
Yes.
so our hearts are in Louisville right now.
Awesome. And Jocelyn, you have to give your horses a snack now.
That's right.
And to Sid, my producer, thank you so much for, as always, making us sound good and getting us on. I also want to thank our amazing engineering team. Bradley and his folks were able to bring you this event through the Aira app. So stay tuned. Keep looking at that events button under the More tab. And remember, at Aira, access is a human right. This has been Janine Stanley. Thank you, everyone. Good night.